Can y'all still see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Greetings. My name is James Crumby, and I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the second episode of the All CNI. Tonight is a very special segment that we're going to launch momentarily. I have two of my best esteemed guests who's going to be sharing with us today a lot of the functionality and application of shifting your mindset. In order to shift your mindset to have a redistribution of wealth, because wealth is a type of principle that starts in your mind. Wealth is not just money or material things. It's a state of mind. We actually have to think in terms of wealth in order to redistribute wealth. We had already have it. And so I'm gonna be introducing to some and presenting to others Mr. Brian Harvey, who's a great friend of mine. We go back a few years or so, and he is a business investor, a real estate investor. He actually owns the Tax Source Group. He has several offices in Michigan. He has satellite offices abroad as well. He's a restaurant owner. He's also an investor in real estate. And he's going to be sharing with us tonight a lot of principles about how we redistribute wealth and have financial literacy. And he's going to be sharing a lot of pinpoints on that as well. And we also have Greg Baldwin, who's also going to be presenting to you a lot of information as it relates to our socioeconomic conditions. This is a young man who I've known for over 30 years. He's a real estate investor as well, hailing out of the great Buckeye state of Ohio. He is a real estate investor, like I mentioned, also a multi-million-dollar earner in the multi-million-dollar club in the network marketing space. And he's also a co-founder of a software company. And he's actually going to be launching a podcast very soon. He's going to share a lot of that information with you as well. Without further ado, what I would like to do is have the panelists just kind of go into a brief introduction or description of where they're at in terms of understanding the mindset that's required for the redistribution of wealth. Brian, what would you state would be ideally of paramount importance in your introduction of how can people get to that point of a mindset to redistribute wealth?
Oh, thank you. Such a great topic, James. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, brother, and appreciate you for even thinking of me. Like you said, we go back many years and always had a great deal of respect for you, your mindset, your loyalty, your focus, your commitment to God, your commitment to your community. I think this is just a fantastic platform that you have put here. And also getting the opportunity to meet the brother Greg that's on the panel as well. Brilliant brother, very focused and serious that I'm looking forward to doing some things with here in the near future. But in respect to the question that you posed, James, in respect to the distribution of wealth and the mindset that it takes. And I think that's very important. So what you said, the mindset. Everything starts with a thought. Every single thing that's ever going to happen to you or for you starts with a mindset within your mind and start with the thought process. So with that being said, in order to accomplish anything, you have to have an internal focus, right? And you have to be extremely serious about what you're doing. And most importantly, you got to research what you're doing, how you're going to do it, who you're going to do it with, and most importantly, the purpose of doing it. For myself, as an entrepreneur, every day I get up with a to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
I create a to-do list so I don't waste no day, and I don't make no excuses of anything for any reason or any purpose. On that to-do list, everything on that to-do list gets done. Period. Win, lose, or draw. And that to-do list is a part of a bigger purpose. So with that being said, for individuals who are becoming entrepreneurs and who want to build wealth and build great relationships, because the true wealth is your relationship with other human beings, other individuals, other talents, other great minds that make you great, that sharpens you, like steel sharpens steel, men sharpen men. So I would say, just empowering your mindset, reading, understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, and just staying focused within it. And you're not going to have all the answers to everything. Some people don't get started because they think this is a particular space where you need to know everything before you get started. That's
Mhm.
the reason, and that's why it's called a journey. You're going to learn things on your journey that you didn't know in your Genesis stages in the beginning while going on your journey. And that's the belief aspect. That's why it's going to require a belief system within yourself.
Okay.
Your belief have to be so strong that you can tune out all the noise around you. And that's the reason why I use the term of staying focused, because you have to stay focused if you're on a journey to build a legacy. Now, if you're on a journey just to get some money, you don't have to be that extremely focused because it's not difficult to make money. But if you're on a journey to build a legacy, to build a name for your family, right, that's respected, you on this earth to build something that's going to be here long after you're gone, then that's a legacy. So that takes supreme focus. So in supreme focus, you got to know exactly what you're doing, who you're doing it with, why you're doing it. And every single day you working towards that goal.
Mhm. Mhm. Staying focused.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. Staying focused
Mhm.
for the entire ride.
For the entire ride. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I definitely
That's my
appreciate
best.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely can appreciate that. What would you have to say on that, Greg?
Oh, absolutely. I like exactly what Brian said, and I definitely want to give it back to you too as well, James. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here because we live in unprecedented times. Everything that's going on, and what Brian said about focus, and there's an acronym for following one course until successful. That's what focus is, and he definitely exemplifies that. And I'm looking forward to doing some great things with you, Brian. And for me, it's about being primal in your focus, just like Brian was saying. It's impossible to know what you don't know. And it's impossible to make improvements until you identify what it is that you don't know. And I'm of the belief system that we have three currencies, and that is you have your time, you have your money, and you have your knowledge. And if you're in need of one of those things, get the other two. And so it was a matter of me really understanding that I needed time and money. My father was a branch manager for IBM in the 80s when IBM was the Microsoft of its day. Um, Kid out of the Bronx, went to junior college, was a JUCO All-American, went to an Ivy League college, Lafayette, and he climbed up the corporate ladder. And so that was going to be the road that I was going to travel. And because
Mhm.
that's all that I knew. And so I was in sales very, very early on, but I was doing a lot of traveling. I made good money, but I didn't have the necessary time that I was looking for. This wasn't something I wanted to do till I was 65, 70 years of age. And so I got into the network marketing space. And it was in that space that it was really highlighted some things. It was like a rites of passage because what you're taught in school, it's really a weapon of mass instruction. It's not an education, it's an indoctrination. And so it's so much more important that people unlearn so that they can relearn some things. And as Brian alluded to, it's really life is existential. There is no one size fits all. For him to have the kind of success that he's had, he stumbled across some things and then he focused on those. And now he has the success that he has. It wasn't overnight. It was consistent focus. The success that I've been able to create, and we'll allude to some of that later on in this particular podcast, was because of the same thing. I stumbled across some things, some people, some information that I wasn't privy to, and I was wondering why they didn't teach us about the things that we need to really learn about in life, and that's money, taxes, investing, things of that nature. And I realized that it was done on purpose. And so the thing that I want to tip my hat to you for is the fact that you have this platform for us to have these kind of discussions. But yeah, If you need one of those things, then
Mhm.
the other two, your time, your money, your knowledge. Those are the things that you got to focus in on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you hit it the nail right on the head. Both of you did, because we all talking about mindset, and we're talking about something that started early. And we often say we prepare them early with instruction and season their minds with the maxims of truth. So this is not something that you just fell into. This was something that, what I'm hearing, was already in you. It just took conditions, situations, and circumstances that allowed that to manifest itself without you. And so that's a beautiful thing. And when we talk about shifting the mindset, so often do we see in society how we equate wealth with money. I mean, elaborate on the difference of the two, wealth versus money. What would you say about that, Greg?
Well, I mean, money is something like, Brian alluded to. If you want to get money, get a job, you know, call it the just over broke. But if you want to have wealth is money and time combined. Wealth is how long can you sustain your quality of life over a period of time without exchanging time for money. That's true wealth. And someone that believes in alchemy as well, I believe that there are so many more resources that we have at our disposal than just money. The human resource is the most powerful resource on the planet. Aligning yourself with the right kind of people. I'm very, very particular about who I surround myself with, because my inner peace is paramount for me. And so, wealth is a matter, and your health is your wealth as well. And so it really boils down to turning earned income into some type of passive residual income as quickly as humanly possible, so that you can have time, basically, planting seeds into the lives of those people that's near and dear to you, like your kids, your family, your extended family and friends, because we can always get more money, but when time is gone, it's gone forever.
Mhm. Absolutely. And just to kind of piggyback upon that, Brian, when we're looking at the money versus wealth, as Greg was basically stating, pinpointing, if you just want money, just go get a job, just over broke. But when we look at how we educate ourselves in terms of money versus wealth, the financial literacy aspect, how would you pivot that? How would you explain the financial literacy? Because it's more than just money. It's more than just being able to obtain the wealth. What about the educational process that goes along with that, Brian?
Absolutely. It's the educational process, of financial literacy. It was a time in my life where I thought I understood financial literacy, only to know that I didn't understand anything about it. As we grow and we accumulate some money, right, and we able to save a few dollars and do a few things, but we find ourselves really in the same space, right? Because true wealth, you're able to measure it. Even when you depart from this earth, it don't depart from you nor your family, right? And it's just very, very, very important to get the financial knowledge that's available out here. There's so much that's available. There's so many platforms that offer financial literacy. But you have to want to, and you have to take the time out to seek this understanding. For example, even dealing with your accountant or tax professional, your banker, your insurance agent, right? Your mentors. These are very important figures in your life, just like your attorney or your doctor, right? These are fixtures in individuals' life, and these people collectively have a wealth of knowledge. If you're able to put it in a chronological order and absorb this information and be able to apply this information to your life. But what happens with a lot of individuals when they do have access to a lot of this information, a lot of people have trouble applying it. And that goes back to this fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the level of fear that you have for life matches your bank account. It matches. That's fear. FEAR, false evidence appearing real, right? So it's the fear factor that has caused us and a lot of our people really not to succeed. So I believe not only getting the financial knowledge and the financial literacy that's needed, right? Those are the applications and the understanding of information, but being able to apply it. You won't be able to apply that if you're consumed with fear. And a lot of the fear that a lot of our people have is inherited.
Okay.
It's inherited. So those type of curses, we have to reverse them. And just like Brother Greg was sharing, that it's some things you have to unlearn. And a lot of things that you're going to have to unlearn has come from the very individuals that you love and that love you. But a lot of the information that was shared with you, it was information that stagnated you, right? Because a lot of it was accurate information, 10% information, 90% fear. And you've been getting injected with that all your life.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of people have a lot of information, but they don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
And what you will find in a lot of individuals who are moving, who are building, who are doing great things, is that they're not consumed with fear. You know, fear of not succeeding, fear of letting someone down, fear of not being accepted, fear if I'm going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake on the journey. It's going to happen, right? Fear of my background. You know, I had a felony before, so you let that stop you, right? You can't grow if you ain't got no dirt on you, right? The greatest flowers and the greatest things is produced out of what? Out of dirt, out of soil. That's some of the darkest area on earth. The two darkest areas on earth is deep down in the soil or inside of a woman's womb, where God do his greatest work at. So don't be consumed with fear. Get over the fear, get the proper information, connect with the proper people so you can produce a great work. Absolutely. That's just the formula. You know, and oftentimes you got to get out of your own way. Get out of your own way and be wise enough to connect with people that's wiser than you. Right? It's very important for you to grow properly, right? Is to make sure that you surround yourself, like Brother Gray would say, he protect himself from that type of energy. So he have a watchful eye who and what he around. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. And the formula for that is knowledge plus wisdom equals understanding. Absolutely. There's nowhere in the world you can understand without nor knowledge nor wisdom. So seek the understanding. Get the knowledge, so therefore you can understand. Once you understand, you can teach that. You can share that. Then they will produce that. That's very important. So we can't keep subscribing to these educational systems that create and put a lot of fear in us. Because that's what I see in my line of work when I'm speaking with individuals who are highly educated from a textbook standpoint, right? But they have this textbook education, but they consume with fear. What good is having all this knowledge if you're fearful to use it? Right? Just because you got a plaque on your mother's or grandmother's fireplace, that don't make you wise. You have to get in the game. You can't be afraid to fail. Just do the work, you won't fail. So it's just very important for our people to truly understand how to shake the fear so they can get to the work. Because we only live for a short amount of time to do a great body of work. We don't have that much time to be contemplating and stumbling and fumbling. You know, we have to do the work. We got to reach out to individuals. And once again, Brother James, and I just can't keep saying it, man, but I really thank you. And I thank Almighty Allah for this platform that you created. Because I know it's going to change people's lives. Getting this raw information and a step-by-step guide on what to do. Because oftentimes people get a lot of information, but people need instructions, right? If I just bought an exercise bike for my home gym, and me and my sweetheart was putting this bike together yesterday, right? And putting this bike together, you know, I look at every part, you know, I'm type, I pull it all out of the box, just ready to get started. And she waving this instructions on there, like, no, we want to do it right. Here's the instruction. And that's the proper way of doing things. Get the right instructions, then proceed. Lay out the parts, lay out all the components, and then put it together. That's just how life works. It's called the plan, the architect work. And then you bring on the builders and the subcontractors and get it together.
Mhm.
So I thank you again, brother, for this platform, and I thank brother Greg, and the process of getting to know this beautiful brother and the work that he's doing, man. And I'm just excited to be here to share my journey and the information that has been given to me by Allah's permission to be able to share with other individuals. And again, and I want a lot of people to know out there, and while we're having these conversations, this not a platform where we're being cocky or being arrogant. And a lot of people often take that. And again, that goes back to that area of a lot of fear, because people consume with fear. They look at people that offer a lot of information as cocky, right? Or boasting, because it hits them in that fear factor that they have in their life, what makes them uncomfortable, right? But real men who want to be sharpened is never in fear of no other man. And in fact, they welcome that. That's what they want, right? So you need that friction. That friction is what sharpens us as brothers. So we need all the sharpest brothers on this earth to get together and do some great work, man, because there's some brilliant minds out here. We just need to connect. And once again, thanking you, James Bay, for this platform. And I think this platform will be able to produce that type of energy, brother.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And that being said, absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
Mhm.
It's all about a collective, concerted effort. Don't
Sure.
know one person possess them all. You know,
Yeah.
the virtues are allotted to various stations. It's just for us to have the mind's eye to be able to see the skill set and abilities in each other and be able to act in concert together. You know,
Yeah.
there's too many things that bind us together, you know, that far exceed the little wedges that separate us. You
Yes.
know, G was talking about focus. You're talking about fear. But both of those elements exist in our minds. And if we are not able to shift and sift the things out of our minds that's going to hold us back from that splendor, then we do ourselves an injustice, and we definitely do our children and our children's children an injustice. Now, I do want to make a little note out to the populace at large that's actually viewing this, that, you know, you guys can like, share, and comment. You know, you can submit your questions to the live chat that's right there. As a matter of fact, we got a question that was sent in. Wanted to have Greg address this particular question. It says here, Mr. Baldwin, considering we as a people, what would you consider is our greatest barrier in obtaining generational wealth?
Well, I think that Brian, first of all, that's a great question. I think that Brian alluded to it a little bit in terms of fear, ego. I think there has been some generational curses. I mean, we can take it all the way back to field nigger, house nigger, a lot of separation that keeps us from really working together. But more importantly than that, taking personal responsibility. And what I mean by that, there's no separation between what's out there and what's in here. That your life, what's happening before your eyes, is actually a reflection of the inside job or the inside work or belief system that you have about what you're capable of from that standpoint. And I think we have to vet the information that we've been given as well. It goes back to the educational system. False information or false knowledge, to me, is even worse than ignorance. And for me, I want to share, my whole process. When I had gotten into the network marketing space, what ended up happening for me, I was introduced to reading a great deal at that moment in time, because I had associated pain with reading. Because when you look at regular curriculum, you're just basically reading stuff that's dead boring, and you're just memorizing it long enough to pass a test, to get a grade and all that kind of stuff, to get that piece of paper that really doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. You can't cash it. You understand what I'm saying? So I went through a process of reading and I came across something. This is something that your users can actually use for themselves, because this is what happened for me personally. I'm sure some of you have heard of Robert T. Kiyosaki, and he introduced me to some concepts. But one of the things that he had was a game called Cash Flow Quadrant, Cash Flow 101. It was a board game that you couldn't get at Toys R Us or anything like that. You had to pay $200 some way back in the day to play this particular game. And it was showing people how to get out of the rat race. And it was showing you how to use income statements and things of that nature. And the name of the game was to take earned income and generate passive residual income. Well, me and some partners, we played the game and they just treated it like it was just a game. But my wife and I, we actually took our own personal numbers ourselves and played the game in real life. And what it did was it opened up our mindset to see opportunities where other people couldn't see opportunity. Okay. It just totally changed my perception. And that's what's really happening, is that people just need their perception tweaked a few degrees to the left or to the right in order for that to happen and start creating some generational wealth. The other thing is the kind of conversations that I have with my daughters. I play the game with my girls as well, so they can start developing a mindset of wealth creation and things of that nature and play the money game at that level. I mean, and I can go further into it, but that's part of it. I don't know if I answered the question or not.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you're definitely addressing the question that was presented. And I thought it was a great question, because they're talking about generational wealth. And that all starts with the mindset. And of course, it starts with brothers and sisters who are willing to make that sacrifice and put in that sweat equity to have an asset of something that they can leave behind. They're leaving behind a generational wealth asset as opposed to a curse. Because sometimes they don't have, you know, when you look at some people in respect of people, they leave nothing behind, no assets. And a lot of these things can't be passed on. You can't pass on a EBT card. You can't pass on bad credit. You can't pass on things that depreciate in value. So it has to start with a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset, James. But you know, also I think it's a lot to chew at one time. You know, you have to build local, then think global. You know, and I think it starts with us first. You know, what I see Brian doing in terms of working on developing wealth for himself first, and then scaling from there, and hopefully his kids can take what he's put in place and scale from there.
Absolutely.
And I think that it begins and ends with taking personal responsibility. You get wealthy first, you know, and then from there you can scale. To think that you're going to create generational wealth from day one, for the average person who's really, you know, living hand to mouth, they can't quantify that. You know, it's a pipe dream, you know, and so to be real honest with you, you got to do the necessary work first and set up and through trial and error. Life is existential. You're not going to just read about it in the book. You have to go out there and do it yourself so that you can really talk about it, because you're being about it.
And you know what? And they were talking in the question, the greatest barrier, the thing that prevents us from being able to pursue generational wealth. And you guys presented it, you know, that fear, not having education or misinformation, not being pointed in the right direction, understanding the difference between money and wealth, and then understanding its true value, you know, and understanding that our greatest resource is each other. You know, but first you got to have it in order to give it and receive it. You know, it's just that we got to put things in play first. We got to lay the groundwork first. Like you say, we got to be those willing sacrifices to move forward. And when we think about that, you know, in light of some other things that may come up, I know we're going to talk about our stories just so the listening audience can understand who's sitting on this platform, you know, because, you know, these are brothers, you know, just I'm speaking to the listening audience. You know, a lot of times we read about other people doing other things, you know, that's trying to work on something. You know, I actually had the opportunity to watch both of these men in the lab, you know, when they were refining, when they were reading, as Greg says, when they were staying focused as Brian says, because these were things that they kept at over and over and over. They didn't waste time with a bunch of foolishness and folly. They stayed focused. Now, did they get knocked down? Did they get shaken? And did they get, obstacles thrown at them? Absolutely, in life. And just like Greg said, most of us think it's a pipe dream that, hey, we're going to walk out and it's going to be a pot of gold. It's a get rich quick scheme. No, it's a lot of requirements that have to take place. And when we talk about requirements, Brian, what's required? What's a prerequisite? Aside from a mindset, what's a prerequisite that's required for the tenacity to move forward with your ideals in terms of if you're going to be a business owner or do you want to be a boss or a business owner? I mean, what's required there? Talk about that for a minute.
Wow, that's such a phenomenal and great question in terms of what it takes. I think first and foremost, it takes the willingness of the individual to want to be the best version of yourself and understanding the process of becoming the best individual that you can possibly be. First, as a human being, then definitely as a man, and then most importantly, as a businessman. And that's all a development. And it's a process. And the wise individuals, what they do is, first and foremost, they make sure they get them a great mentor, right? Oftentimes we have so much energy and we'll jump out there and we'll think that we do not need to be guided, right? Or need to have great information shared with us. Again, this goes back to the instructions of building something great. So the process of breaking down that journey is that you're building yourself, right? So you can go on to do something great, right? And that's just not a microwave type of mindset when building yourself and developing a mindset that's going to go on to build something extraordinary and build a legacy. So I think first and foremost is that your willingness and whatever business that you're going to get involved in, you have to do your research. And you have to be willing to pay for information. And that's what happens with us as a people. Oftentimes, we want everything free. You see, when you're on your journey to get everything free, you're going to waste so much time to only end right back up at the register. So you might as well, I believe in paying for information. And I think that has been the success of my journey because I'm willing to pay for the information because I pay for results. When I pay for information, I pay for results. And I think that's very important for the journey and to set your mindset in the proper space, right? I don't want to run around and focus on getting everything for free. Now, it's some information that you're going to be able to network and get with some individuals on, and they're going to share some very great jewels that you will be able to go on and utilize on your journey. But then it's some information that's out here that's very organized to the journey that you're on, the line of work that you're getting involved in the particular space that you're in. And you can expedite things, right? By seeking out this information, making sure that you pay for this information and you utilize that information on your journey. I run across a lot of individuals who's unwilling to do that. And I think when you're unwilling to do that, you set yourself up for failure. Right? It's a thing that's called a dollar well spent. And remember, it's just a tool. It's a trading tool. I give you this, you give me that. It's what you're going to do with that. That's what's going to take you to the next level. And some information is a paradigm shift in the whole process and what you're doing. So I think it's information. Information is powerful. Right? Information changes people's lives and some information destroys lives, depending on how it's utilized. So, I'm a big fan of the right information. And how do you know that it's the right information for you? You're able to apply it. You're able to apply it. And that's very important. Very, very important while you're on your journey, especially building a business, right? And understanding the industry that you're getting into. And most importantly, every company have one or two things. Either you have a service or a product or both. And it's someone or individuals that's out there that's willing to buy your service or your product. You have to know your service and you have to know your product. And you got to be willing to service the people properly, right? If you're into the servicing business. I'm in the servicing business, right? The servicing business that I'm into selling accurate information so people can get an accurate result because they paying for result. So we don't have no room for error.
Absolutely.
We don't have room for error, right? So you have to operate with a high level of integrity in this particular business, in this field of endeavor. And what's rewarding is that it changed people's lives. And people often think when it comes to taxes, as I think that this something should be put in middle school for individuals to learn. I think everyone should learn how this works sooner than later. Mm-hmm. That's why so many individuals end up in so much trouble in respect to the IRS because they end up at a space where I just didn't know. And they're not forgiving about what you didn't know, right? But a lot of times when this information is introduced early on, people don't have fear of it. Because when we talk with people about the IRS and this, that, and the other in this particular industry, it creates so much anxiety that they analyze to the point they become paralyzed. Mm-hmm. And they don't make a move, right? But when you're introduced to this type of transaction at an early age and understand how it works as well as how it performs, right? You don't associate any fear with it because you're familiar with the process. That's the reason why information need to get to our children and young America and young Black America in particular at a very young age on how to purchase a home, right? The importance of credit, personal as well as business credit, things that they're not teaching in school, but these are the interactions and transactions you're going to spend most of your life doing.
And that's a whole nother piece that we wanted to implement, in future conversations, talking about the how-tos. It has to start early. We got to season their minds with the maximums of
Absolutely
early on. Understanding what credit is and how to establish it, what to do with it. Most people are not familiar with financial literacy. And I think it should start early on, with the youth, because these are going to be the leaders of our group and abroad. So we have to educate, we definitely have to educate people. Now, a question came up, Greg, and I want you to address it. And I do appreciate everything that you were saying, Brian, because that was dead on point. And the question that came up was, many have had the desire to make a shift in opening their own business. And now, because of the pandemic, have begun to shrink back and are placing their faith in their job. What would you have to say about that?
I think that to each his own as it relates to that. I'm not one to really judge people in terms of how they go about eating. But if there's something that you want to do in terms of entrepreneurship, I think that if nothing else, this COVID and the last time back in March and April when everyone got shut down and they couldn't go to work or they didn't have a job that was remote in nature, it should have been a wake-up call that when I look down the highway, I see that everything is online. Everything is moving into the online space. And there's a technology gap that's running prevalent, especially in the African-American community. We have to get on our P's and Q's in terms of understanding this new digital technocracy that we're getting ready to embark upon. And so back to what Brian was saying, You've got to go ahead and begin to increase your knowledge about where the game is being moved to. There's a book out there, Who Moved My Cheese? The cheese is being moved, and it's going from a physical brick and mortar realm to more of a digital realm. And for those people who can take the time to learn that space, I think they'll bode well. It's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of hype people out there, but like everything else, you have to become a scientist of your own experiences to know fact from fiction. And there's no other way around it from that standpoint. But I would suggest that people begin to educate themselves on the online space and find something that you have a passion for doing. And it's not going to be easy. You know, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It just isn't. They say it's like jumping off a cliff and building an airplane on the way down. However, if you have the faith and the fortitude, you'll be able to fly straight. So get in the online space. If I were you, that's something I would look at. There's a lot of things that you can do. But that would be the recommendation I have for people in that space there.
Mm-hmm. Same question to you, Mr. Harvey. I mean, in light of this pandemic, you know, same question.
I think Brother Greg hit it directly the nail on the head. Definitely looking into that online marketing and getting into that digital space and dealing with industries that are recession proof, right? Subscription-based businesses, tutoring businesses, retail online, you know, strong marketing presence online with whatever product or service or in field or endeavor that you're going to get into. And again, it's going to go back to knowing your business, and then you will learn your market. Just because you go online, you can't escape the knowledge that you're going to need to run a business. It's just a business online, or if it's in a brick and mortar, right? Don't think that you're going to be able to escape from doing the work just because it's online. And in fact, the work is a different process that you're going to have to take from reaching a client without seeing them, right? So now you have to really, really get involved. And I say most importantly, you got to build a team. You can build a great team. That's very important. And sometimes individuals may not have the funds or the resources to get into the field that they want to get into. But what I recommend that individuals do who want to build a great business is build you a great research team. Find other individuals that's like-minded who want to get off into business and running and operating their own business, and partner with them, even on the research side of developing a business. And y'all can share ideas, right? And allow and see what can be born out of that. Do not be afraid to partner with people, because unfortunately our people have this mindset that they want to be the greatest sole proprietor ever, right? Building with individuals is extremely important, right? You guys may not have all the answers. You definitely ain't going to have all the money, and you're not going to have all the resources, right? But when you have the meeting of the minds and you develop think tanks, God bless those type of energies. When you put your thoughts together, when it comes time to put your dollars together, right? You'll have a better perspective on how to treat one another, respect one another, and move accordingly. So my recommendation is to build a great team.
Build a team.
It's great minds that's sitting at home right now. It's great minds that's working remotely. Don't take this remote time because you're sitting at home and just sit down on a couch and do nothing. Utilize this time wisely. Reach out to individuals. You know, a lot of you guys are on Facebook, on Instagram, on the social media, and you utilizing a lot of that time and energy for things that don't matter. Reach out to individuals, drop down in a DM and ask them, do they want to join your research team? Other individuals, you see their profile. It's great minds out there. Organize, activate. That's what you must do. Reach out to individuals, right? Don't try to think about, I don't have all the money. I don't have this. I can't get started. You got breath in your body. You got some form of education. You got internet. So therefore you paying for something.
Yeah.
So utilize it wisely. You know, reach out and get with individuals and build a research team or build something great and see what can be born out of that.
Right. And speaking of which, if you don't mind, James, what Brian said in terms of a subscription business, that's exactly one of the things I was able to build online as well. Because when I had gotten involved in the network marketing space, we were jumping from company to company, and at every company I was either near the top or at the top of every company, but it was short-lived money and you have to rebuild again. The profit margins weren't big enough for everyone to really substantiate going full time and really leveraging off of network marketing for the duration of their life. And so I had to figure out something else to do. And I was traveling. I was up and down the highways. I was getting on planes going across the countries. I was in the dens and living rooms because when I do something, I do it. Okay. And I treated it like a business. It wasn't just an opportunity. I learned from the best of the best in terms of treating it like a business. And so as a consequence of that, I knew the online space was there. But a lot of my mentors, they were old school, belly to belly, kneecap to kneecap. But I knew that the online world was coming about. And so what I did was I invested some of my earnings from the network marketing space, developed some real estate holdings, also developed this platform with a gentleman out of Canada. And I basically created my own marketing software platform for my team specifically, so that when there was lulls in the team building aspect of it, I was able to create a subscription. At that time, it was $19.95 a month. Me and this gentleman, we split it 50-50. So it was $10 a head for people to use this online marketing platform. I didn't have to do presentations. The presentation was going 24/7. We had training, back office, the whole 9 yards. But every time we went from company to company, I was grabbing more memberships on my subscription-based business. Finally, I was able to land with someone, a gentleman out of Colorado, who understood the online marketing space unlike anybody else. And we were basically selling high ticket items, $3,500 to $22,000 online ticket items, whereby we were teaching people how to operate in the online space. So imagine getting people to spend $22,500 for this digital online course in a very short period of time, made a great deal of money, but also a whole bunch of people got on top of my subscription-based marketing system out there. So to piggyback off of what he was saying, in the online space, what you want to do, if you can, find a way to create a subscription-based business or some type of residual income. Your bills are residual, your income should be residual.
Absolutely, absolutely. The bills never stop coming.
And just to add on to what Brother Greg was saying, and
go ahead.
That's so important in terms of the subscription-based business. And that whole mindset to build a subscription-based business, the education within that process, because I work with a few individuals who have a subscription-based business and they're doing phenomenal. But more importantly, the togetherness that they have created has created a bond and a trust and an energy within what they believe in and they have taken on. Yeah. So that's why, again, I encourage individuals out there, don't just focus on the money, focus on the talent. Find the individuals who are great minds out there, great energy out there, connect with them.
Right.
Text them out.
Yeah.
Right. Have lunch with them. Share your vision. Share what you're trying to do. Right. And they maybe be trying to do something similar or just like what you're trying to do and build something. But again, just like Brother Greg was saying, subscription-based business in this day and time is where to go.
It's paramount. And to elaborate on what you said in terms of finding great minds and talent, which is so very, very important. And I've even been able to take it to another level of understanding in terms of building various teams, is that I only used to go after talent. But then what happens is when the going gets tough, they scatter like roaches. I wanted to find people that share the same values that I have. because when the going gets tough, the values is going to be the mortar that keep us together. And so, like Brian said, when you sit down with these individuals, find out what makes them tick. What are your values? Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, you can do that. You're talented here and there. But do we share the same values that for the long haul, we can build something substantial?
Absolutely.
And in the online space, as well as business, your network determines your net worth for sure. But find people that share your values.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's king. That's king.
And in light of that, we got a couple of more questions, you know, as you guys were going through that. But that was information that was well received, well needed. And they asked this question, and you both can tackle it. It says, how important is branding and reputation?
Woo.
How do you fix a shattered reputation from the past moving forward to start something new in business when trust has become an issue?
Right.
Because you had that.
Great question.
That's a great question. First and foremost, branding in this day and time is everything. A lot of people are branding in a way where they're being polarizing because they're trying to get eyeballs and attention. They may not necessarily have talent, but if they can do something that gets your attention, that's how people are branding, like reality TV shows and things of that nature. But in reference to if your brand or your trust has been broken, how do you build the brand? If what you're doing is really bringing true value to the table and it resonates, and you have a vibe, you will attract your tribe because truth will stand the test of time, you know, and that's just how it is. You just have to have something of real value. And then also people can't put you in the box. People are always growing and changing. I mean, I can tell you, to be very candid, in my lifetime, the times where I had the biggest hurdles or the things that hurt me the most is when I maybe gotten a little greedy. We have to be careful not to get greedy. And so when you learn that kind of lesson, then you can move on from there. But for me, being very transparent, anytime I've had any problems is when I got a little bit greedy because I lack the self-awareness that I have today to understand that there's enough for everyone to go around.
Yes, that's important. And just to piggyback off that's a very interesting question, Brother James, in terms of how do an individual rebuild or get started after having or creating that type of energy on the earth in respect to disappointing people, right? Not having the highest level of integrity that's needed. I remember a friend of mine, an individual, gave me a call. And he shared that with me. He said, I want to get my business back started, but in business, I disappointed a lot of people. I hurt a lot of people. I did that. And he was calling me for advice. And I listened to him. And I shared with him, I said, did you take the time out to write a list down of everyone that you wronged? Have you wrote every one of their names down that you wronged? I think you should write every one of their names down and reach out to every last one of them, right? And the reason why I said that, right, is because I think it was going to free him to be able to move forward. Because again, when you create that type of energy on earth, in return, what it gives you is a level of uncomfortableness is hard for you to overcome because of shame, fear set in, disappointing in yourself. But a lot of people outgrow that because a lot of people get into that space when they're operating as an immature individual, and they need time to develop, right? After causing that type of disturbance, if you will, when trying to build something, or just like Brother Greg say, getting a little greedy, right? And it happens to individuals, but needless to say that he took my advice and he called these individuals, he reached out to them, right? And he called me back about a week later. Some people went off on him, some people did this, that, and the other, but it freed him. And that's what they speak about when they say the truth will set you free. If you calling and you very sincere, then you can move on in your journey. right? Because again, as we spoke about when we first got started with this, and that we all agreed on, that you can't grow if you ain't got no dirt on you, right? And it happened, and you can grow out of them circumstances. But a lot of individuals who've been confronted with that has went on to become some of the best businessmen and individuals you can get the best advice from, because they understand that side of the road. They understand what that looked like, and they never want to visit that again. So therefore, they can give great advice in that space, you know. And I think us as businessmen, that's a part of that journey, disappointing people, letting people down, allowing a little greed to get there. But as you mature in business, as you continue that journey, in spite of all what happened, I think you will come out with great substance.
Absolutely.
You'll prevail. Absolutely. And I salute individuals who go through that and who keep moving, right? And they go on to make something of themselves, or build a business or a brand. And just to kind of piggyback back on the branding aspect of business. And as we know, when building any business, you got to become a big fan of marketing, because it boiled down, your service or product become 10% of your business, and 90% becomes your marketing skill. Because a business with no sign is a sign of no business. And that's where you have to stay focused. You have to stay in front of the people. But me as a businessman, I'm quality over quantity. I deal with quality people. I have no time for riffraff. That's right. I just don't want to deal with it. I'm just at a space in my life. I just want to focus and deal with people who are serious, who's going in a direction that I'm going in, right? And not to say, you know, when you get in business, some people open themselves up to any and everybody. I'm just not open up to the public in that respect. I pick and choose the clients who I want to deal with, because at the end of the day, I want a life.
That's right.
I want a life, and I want to be able to enjoy my life. Some people is just too toxic to deal with, and I ain't gonna make no excuses for them. They know who they are. Toxic people, keep it moving. I don't want your business. I don't want your service. I just don't want to deal with you. And that's the beauty about owning your own. You can pick and choose who you want to deal with.
Absolutely. And you know what? And that's all a part of the whole social construct, you know, because we got to have social etiquette as well. You know, all money ain't good money.
No, it's not.
Sometimes along with the dollar may come some other situations, conditions, and circumstances that might cause an upheaval in your business. And it's always important to represent your brand. You have to be, your business has to exemplify you in characteristic and everything else that you're doing. You involve yourself, you pour yourself into your business. You know, like Greg, you have several businesses. You've been declarated, you know, in all kind of multi-million-dollar clubs in the network marketing space, real estate investor. Now you're going to have this podcast, and also with the Gentleman Thug. And just to give a backdrop on that in your closing remarks, because time is almost amongst us, but those are different things that we need to understand, how we pour ourselves into our business, you know. And it's been just an honor and a privilege, you know, to have both of you brothers on this show. And of course, it just wasn't enough time. But guess what? There's always other platforms, other shows that we can do, because this is just volume one of a consistent and ongoing process, because we haven't even peeled back the layers of the onion yet. We just gave people just a little tip of the iceberg, and we're just talking about mindset. We're just talking about getting focused, overcoming fear, the educational aspect, you know, branding and various other things that are required. You know, we got to have vision. You know, people got to have a plan. A lot of people say, hey, I got money, but they don't have any idea of what to do with the money. And so then they find that they're spending on things and think that that's wealth just because they got some money. So it's a whole lot of components that go into the redistribution of wealth. And of course, it starts with shifting our paradigm. Now, I know I'm gonna have some closing remarks from the both of you brothers. We definitely, because the guests, I mean, questions are blowing up all in my phone. Of course, we don't have time to attend to them. but we're going to get them in our blog. But we definitely want you guys to drop your info in the chat room so, brothers and sisters can reach out to you, because I do know that, sometimes you guys coach, you consult, and various other things of that sort. These are professional icons that we have at our fingertips that we can reach out and touch, declarated and accomplished businessmen in Ohio and in Michigan and abroad. It's not just limited locally. But Brian, I'm going to get you first to give some closing remarks and maybe drop a few things in terms of the tax source group, where we're going, the different things that you got going on. I hear, hey, my ears are plugged. I hear a lot of things, I'm saying, oh man, Comcast, what? I mean, what's really going on? I'm hearing a lot of great things about this TV thing you got going on too. So kind of in your closing, wrapping on up, let us know what you got.
Great. Thanks, James. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, but in closing, like Brother James was saying, it is a lot going on. And that's all praise due to Allah to allow a lot of things that's happening to be even taking place.
Yeah.
But of course, with the Tax Source Group, we're opening a new location here in Southfield, Michigan, Evergreen and 12 Mile. Have a beautiful office here to serve the community. To do great business. We got great services, great product. We do personal taxes, corporate taxes, bookkeeping, and we also do credit repair like never before. We also offer seasoned trade lines for individuals who want to build their credit, right? We also have an ebook that will be dropping next week, actually, for individuals who want to get a lot of derogatory items off the credit and things of that nature, just the whole spectrum of credit, because we're a firm believer that you need to have the ability to pay back, which is great credit, right? That's the system that they utilize for you to lend, to get involved in a lot of different financial products and services. So you need to be credit worthy, right? So take some time out to make sure that you become credit worthy. Also, in addition to that, like Brother James talking about, we got Source Entertainment, IP television, that will be hitting the market next week. This will be what we consider the Metro PCS of television, right? Everything that you need when it comes to television for one small price per month, right? And we'll be introducing that. We will have that up and running. As of next week, you'll be able to purchase that. We're excited about that. This is a platform that we have been working on for 2 years to develop and to get started. So it'll be a lot more information and marketing on the Source Entertainment IP television. Also, we partner with Meyer Super Market, where we're opening our QSR restaurant, which is Alamos Taco. Which stands for I Love Taco, right? So great product, great service that we're extremely excited about. My partner and I, Mr. Frank Blackman, on the restaurant side, where we decided to partner up and do something phenomenal in respect to the restaurant space. We're also doing some great development on the Fashion of Avenue on Livernois. We're opening 2 restaurants there, a cigar bar, as well as a lounge on the Fashion of Avenue. And that's due to open summer, 21 of June or July in that space. But we'll keep you guys informed on that process. We'll have a lot of footage in respect to the beginning stages and as the development and everything is getting started that we're extremely proud of. And also, we got Source Academy, which is an academy for individuals who want to become income tax professionals, right? So they go through our course if you want to get involved on the side of becoming a professional tax preparer and learn all the ins and outs of running and operating your own business. The business models we have in respect to a brick and mortar satellite office or typically becoming a mobile rep. Because we also own and operate our own software. So we also offer software to individuals who are CPAs, attorneys, or individuals, again, who want to become a professional tax preparer or who are a professional tax preparer who simply just want to purchase the software. And you can look us up at www.taxsourcegroup.com. Also, our phone number 844-272-2344, where you can reach us at. And also, we give that to you guys, James, where you can get that put up there on your YouTube channel for all the listeners and individuals that's out there who may want to start or operate their own business or get involved. And again, brother, I thank you for this opportunity. I definitely enjoyed myself. I learned a lot from you, brother, and brother, and too. Appreciate you guys, man. And I'm looking forward to reaching out to you too, brother, so we can get an opportunity to share some more things with one another. And also, I want to hear about some more of the things that you're working on and doing. And I'm going to definitely find my way down there in the Buckeye State and get with you. That's for certain.
Without question, we're going to make that happen. Without question. Absolutely.
Well, without further ado, I have my brother Greg Baldwin. Thank you so much, B. I mean, just having you on the call today, I mean, it's just a blessing to have you here because I know you're a wealth of information, very astute businessman in the city of Detroit and in other areas. And you have a lot of different things going on. You got a plethora of different things going on. So therefore, there's opportunity. And for people to say, well, hey, look, there's nothing out here for me to do. Here it is. You got your hands are reaching out to people. Hey, look, if you want the information, you know where to get it. I'm a source that definitely my door is open. Hey, look, give me a call. Brothers and sisters, if you need hands-on, the brother's right there to assist you and walk you through the process. But more than anything, that's a source of information that you can use to help yourself, because I don't think either one of these brothers, they feel elated when they can duplicate whatever processes they're doing in individuals when they make it their own, So Greg, without further ado, I know you got some good closing remarks for us, and then we're going to take it on home.
Without question. I want to just thank you once again for this platform. And Brian, I'm definitely looking forward to connecting with you, brother, and we can do some big things together. And for the listeners out there, it's just about you doing the necessary work, taking the information that we gave you and applying it. But I got a couple brands that I'm working on. My one brand is Smarter Than Money. And that is my software platform that I've used various marketing systems and businesses to promote. And what's so interesting is what Brian is doing. There may be something that we can collaborate on, because I'm very interested in showing people how to become smarter than money. And the reality, though, is there's different ways to skin a cat, but would love to put something together specifically with some people that know how to just basically package all the various things, whether it's taxes, investing, whatever, and marketing it and creating a subscription from that standpoint and educating people. At this stage of my life as well, at 50 years young, there's another brand that I'm working on. That's the Gentleman Thug podcast. And there was a brainchild of mine because when I looked at mainstream media and the narrative that they were putting out there, it was very incongruent with the world that I was experiencing. And they say if seeing is believing. And the fact of the matter is the media controls what we see and ultimately controls what we believe. And so Gentleman Thug stands for the holistically unique gentleman. And so I want to take words and take different things and just recreate the narrative and package it and put it back out there, because I'm tired of certain people and individuals and globalists trying to dictate to us how we should believe and create labels for us. And so this podcast platform is going to be for all kinds of gentlemen and gals to come to the table. I'm very much interested in anyone that has something unique perspective to bring to the table so that their voices can be heard, because there's a wealth of information and perspective, and that's what we need. There's a lot of censorship going on. And I think now more than ever with the internet age, we have platforms that we can get our voices out there and basically eliminate the spam and really talk, some real good talk out there, make some things happen from that standpoint. So if you want to reach me, let me give you this particular email. You can reach me at greg@smarterthanmoney.com. That's my email address for those that may be interested. and plugging into a podcast, and we talking about some things there. And then I'd love to get back on the show and peel back some more layers, some specifics of what I do and how I got there, because a lot of times people, they see you, but they want to know, how did it happen? And I would love to share my journey.
Absolutely.
And just let everyone know that there's many ways to skin a cat. Your journey is your journey. And so the how-tos are important, but the why is more important. And they always say that people that know how to do something, they work for the people that know why. And so the reality is, become self-aware. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to create wealth? And what's your value system around that? And from there, you'll be able to branch out and make some things happen and scale.
Okay. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it live off the press from the All CNI. And again, it's just an honor to have these two distinguished gentlemen who have created success, created wealth for their families and their children and their children's children to come, because they put in the sweat equity. They saw what it took, what was required, and they seized it with everything that's within them. Yeah, they had obstacles. Yeah, they had hurdles, but they didn't give up. They kept on breaking through. And that's what we have to do in life, brothers and sisters. We can't give up because we fall down. Okay? You're going to trip in life. You're going to make mistakes, but you have to educate yourself. You got to get back up. You got to get tough. You got to get tough, because life is going to throw you a lot of curveballs. It's not going to all come dressed up and flowery and all handed out to you on the platter. You know, that's the dream. Wake up. This is reality. Anything you work for, you're going to have to put in the work and make that happen. But this journey, it starts with a single step. And it starts with each and every one of us shifting our mindset in order to understand the difference between wealth and money, and understanding how it's applicable to redistribute that wealth and give it back to our children, to keep it reciprocating so that it can continuously go on by partnering up and shouldering up with brothers and sisters of like minds who are focused and not afraid to step out and fall down, but have the tenacity to get back up and carry the ball across the finish line. It was indeed an honor, brothers. We got your information. We're going to repost that information so everybody that's listening can actually get it. But we'd like to thank you all of our watchers and listeners. We love all the questions. Tune in not next Monday, but the Monday after next, where we're going to be continuing our socioeconomic journey and understanding how to identify methods and executable realistic goals, step A, B, C, on how to get from where you're at, out of that ditch, and start moving towards a more secure way of life. I bid you all peace and love. And again, thank you, my brothers, for coming on the show today. I look forward to speaking with you and collabing with you, because out of this is going to come something good. Absolutely. What we just talked about just a moment ago, that's what these brothers are about to do. They're about to go ahead and go to the lab, and I'm going to be right in there with them, okay? So let's go ahead and get busy. Thank you again, and may God continue to bless you all.
All right. Blessings.
Blessings. Peace.